So let's go over how to use a balance. When you want to weigh out a solid, you can approach the balance and start by tearing it or setting it to 0 by hitting the on button. You can do that again right before weighing out your material. Now you could use weigh paper. Right, that's like this little piece of paper. If you do, you want to fold it on the diagonal, crease it. That'll give you a way to transfer material that's on here into a vessel by pouring like so. Okay, so you can put the weigh paper right on the platform of the balance. Close the doors and tear the balance. Now sometimes that weigh paper is a little staticky, so the balance will drift. Closing the doors definitely helps. There we go. Okay. Now, when we want to weigh out a solid in here, we never want to obsess about getting exactly the right amount. All right, so let's aim for 0.3 grams. Okay. Get some of the solid on our spatula. What's tricky about weigh paper is you can't really take it off the balance. So that the potential for spills is kind of high, and that's not ideal. Okay, 0.177, so I'm not quite there. Okay, so there I am, and I have measured a mass of 0.303 grams as it's settled. Okay, so you write down over here it is 0.304 grams, and now it's steady. That's what I would write down in my notebook. Close enough to 0.3 grams. Okay. Then I can take that weigh paper out. And I could transfer the solid right into a vessel. Okay. All right, but like I said, the potential for spills is pretty high. So let's go over a couple of other ways that are really convenient to use the balance. I would say more common than weigh paper would be to measure the solid material right into a beaker that's clean and dry, or potentially an Erlenmeyer flask. Either of these can sit directly on the balance platform. You can tear the balance or set it to 0. And what I like about this kind of method is once it is teared, then you can take that vessel off and add solid to it outside of the balance. Okay, so we're just going to give it our best shot at zeroing, and we're going to move forward. All right, so I can take it out, and I can transfer the solid outside of the balance. It's a little easier to clean up the surface of the bench top than the balance. I can put it in there then, and whatever I am measuring here, that is the mass of the solid, because I had teared the balance to begin. Okay, so I would be close to 0.3 grams, a little under. You can always check with your professor to see if you're close enough, but in this case I would say being 20 milligrams or less off is good enough. Now sometimes our reagents are liquids at room temperature, and we often will be doing a reaction in a round bottom flask. So I'll show you that most accurate way to get the mass of a liquid. And if your liquid is the limiting reagent, we do want to measure it as accurately as possible so we can have as many significant figures as possible. Again, we can, if it's over a gram, we get 4 on this balance, and if it's under a gram, we get 3. So let me show you how to do that. A round bottom flask, you want to make sure it's relatively clean and dry, can be supported on the balance using a cork ring. So the cork ring can go right on the balance, and then your flask, and then we can tear the balance. Okay. So disposable pipettes, they're in the back of the room. They're a good way to transfer liquids. Once the balance is stable, then we're going to use the pasture pipette, the disposable pasture pipette, to transfer liquid into the flask. All right, let's open the top of the balance. And sometimes we get drift when there's airflow, so I'm just going to zero it again with the top open. There we go. And let's aim for 0.3 grams, plus or minus a little bit. All right, so suck some of the liquid up using that pasture pipette. Okay, and then bring it and drop by drop, add some of the liquid. Right, so it's good to go slow at first so we have a sense of how much each drop weighs. I don't want to add too much by not paying attention. Alright, so if I was aiming for 0.3 grams, 0.294 grams is great. I'm going to close the top, and when it's stable, record that mass.